Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday morning, April the 10th. We're still dealing with some chilly air masses for this time of the year in the northeastern part of the nation. We have another chilly few days in store across the Great Lakes, the Mid-Atlantic, the northeast U.S., and there will be increasingly unsettled weather conditions as well. Some shower activity later today into tonight, and then periods of rain on Friday and Saturday as waves of low pressure kind of rotate around the northeastern part of the nation. Now, over the next few days, it will be cold enough for accumulating snow in many of those higher elevation locations of the mid-Atlantic, of the northeast U.S., those interior higher elevation locations. For example, from northeastern Pennsylvania up across the Catskills and all the way through the interior sections of New England, there can be accumulating snow, and we'll talk about that over the next few minutes here. In terms of severe weather, it's been relatively quiet over the past few days. Looks relatively quiet over the next few days. However, later today into tonight, there is a chance for some scattered severe thunderstorm activity, really from the Ohio Valley down across the Tennessee Valley into the deep south. I do not expect a widespread severe outbreak, and I do not expect numerous tornadoes, maybe just a couple of tornadoes later today into tonight. So yes, there is a threat for some severe weather activity later today into tonight, but I do not expect any kind of a widespread or really extensive outbreak later today into tonight. Now, in terms of snowfall, yes, in fact, we have some accumulating snow on the way for those interior, higher elevation locations of the Mid-Atlantic, of the northeast U.S. This is a forecast map from last night's zero-Z run of the GFS for total snowfall between today, Thursday, and Sunday morning. And take a look here from northeastern PA up across eastern sections of New York State and all the way through the interior sections of New England. Expect some decent snowfall. Here we are well into the month of April, but we have a cold weather pattern for the northeastern states, and waves of low pressure over the next few days will bring beneficial rainfall, a chilly rainfall to places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. But then you go to those higher elevation locations, again, Poconos, Catskills, all the way up through much of New England. Expect to see some accumulating snow, and in some cases it could be some heavy, wet snow here. Again, this is over the next few days here between today and Sunday morning, but much of this will come on Friday and Saturday. Well, we talked extensively about that stratospheric warming event that took place later February during the month of March, and that often leads to some cold air outbreaks into at least the central and eastern states during the month of April. In fact, we are experiencing that right now. We have a colder than normal air mass up across the Great Lakes, the northeast U.S., and there'll be another one coming by the middle of next week. We'll take a look at that in a moment here, but let's move forward here. And again, we have this kind of rotating system in the upper part of the atmosphere that will bring waves of low pressure to the northeastern states over the next few days, and a continuation of that colder than normal weather pattern. This is now leading into the day on Saturday. Certainly can be accumulating snow associated with this pattern here. Colder than normal temperatures Friday, Saturday, and again, we're talking those inland higher elevation locations, all the mountainous regions from northeastern PA up across eastern New York State and much of New England. Don't have to go far from the coastline of New England to get some accumulating snow here over the next few days. Here we are into the latter part now of the upcoming weekend. On Sunday, that colder than normal pattern hangs on here in the eastern states, of much above normal out in the middle part of the nation, and it does turn milder in the east Sunday and especially Monday into Tuesday. But you can see right on its heels another strong cold front over the Ohio Valley by Tuesday, and that slides into the eastern states by the middle of next week. We'll have yet another colder than normal air mass extending from the Great Lakes to the Mid-Atlantic to the northeast U.S. So we're not quite done with this outbreak of colder than normal air masses here for much of the central and eastern states. At least another week to go through. Now let's take a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly forecast maps. This is this morning's map. Not all that impressive here, but watch what happens as we move forward here. kind of intensifies and it slows down and it digs down into the southeastern states. This is now the midday on Friday forecast map. Strong ridge out across the interior west, and that's where the temperatures will be above normal. But this system here in the east will pretty much hang around right through the next few days, perhaps even having an impact on the weather on Sunday in the Mid-Atlantic, in the northeast U.S. Most definitely from later today through Friday and Saturday, it will have a major impact on the weather in the Mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S. Here we go into the day on Sunday. Finally starts to exit, but we can see that ridge out in the middle of the nation, the Mississippi Valley region, will be followed closely behind by yet another trough, yet another colder than normal air mass that reaches the eastern states by the middle of next week. Here we go into next Tuesday. Strong upper level low forms over the Great Lakes, and that pushes some colder air, colder than normal air, back into the northeastern part of the nation here by the middle of next week. This is the forecast map. 500 millibar height anomalies by the middle part of next week. Again, another colder than normal air mass across the Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S. Well, now let's walk through the surface forecast maps, and there will be some shower activity later today into tonight in the I-95 corridor region, but the real threat for decent rainfall and in the interior section snowfall comes Friday into Saturday. We'll see that in a moment here. Again, we have this kind of an initial wave. There are waves of low pressure over the next few days here impacting the northeastern quadrant of the nation. Notice the blue here. Cold enough for snow. Again, northeastern Pennsylvania, a place like the Poconos can see some accumulating snow, in upstate New York for sure. And here we go into the morning hours on Friday. And this is the low pressure area that really starts to intensify. Notice right here, 1012 millibar low on Friday morning, quickly deepens into 1007 low by midday on Friday. And then it moves slowly up along the Mid-Atlantic coastline, and again, notice the blues here, interior sections of New England, interior sections of New York State, and northeastern Pennsylvania, maybe north central Pennsylvania, getting in on some of that accumulating snow, and it can become quite heavy here. This is the forecast map for early Saturday morning. Cold enough for some heavy, wet snow across these interior sections from New England down across New York State and Pennsylvania. And here we go into the midday on Saturday. Cold enough for snow, certainly up across interior sections of Maine and really extending all the way down into northeastern PA. A slow-moving system still could have an impact on the weather here on Sunday morning. Just sitting off the New England coastline, pretty decent pressure gradient. Northerly winds will keep it quite cool, well below normal for this time of the year into certainly the first half of the weekend, and likely stays kind of on the cool side in the northeastern states on Sunday as well. Now, you notice out here by Sunday another situation where warm air surges from the south central states all the way up into the western Great Lakes. Counterclockwise flow of air around a low and clockwise flow of air around that high will push milder air north and east on Sunday way up into the Great Lakes region. That slides to the east. We'll probably see 70 plus degrees in places like DC and Philadelphia Monday into Tuesday. But here we go again. We have another strong cold front by Tuesday crossing the Great Lakes region, accumulating snow in the cold sector of this 983 millibar low by early Tuesday. That accumulating snow in the western parts of the Great Lakes. And here we have another situation with a strong pressure gradient, strong northwest winds once that cold front passes through. And it looks like right here is that cold front by midday on Tuesday, and that next colder than normal air mass pushes all the way into the northeastern states by the middle part of next week. So not quite done yet with these cold air outbreaks, certainly not across the Great Lakes, the Mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S., and with this next system here, kind of a rotating series of low pressure areas in the Mid-Atlantic, in the northeast. There will be some accumulating snow in those higher elevation locations of the Mid-Atlantic and all sections of the interior part of New England, and in some cases this can be rather significant heavy wet snow over the next few days between tomorrow and Sunday. Expect to see some accumulating snow and in some cases substantial heavy wet snow. Again, those interior higher elevation locations of the Mid-Atlantic, of the northeastern states. That's it for now for ArcFieldWeather.com. This has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.